Let us not take ourselves too seriously. None of us has a monopoly on wisdom. That is a real quotation from Queen Elizabeth II. I obviously don't speak like a queen, but if you watch my channel, you know I like to destroy languages. That's one of my hobbies, mispronouncing things and apparently voice representing other people. I mentioned Queen Elizabeth II because she owns two of these, or this was the official state car of her reign until the later Bentley took over. And what this is a Rolls Royce Phantom VI. I learned about this casting ways back watching Twice Diecast channel. He reviewed this one in black, and that's a nice looking model as well. But for me, I like to have more, I guess, bright color schemes so I can see the bodywork a little bit better. Yeah, certain cars though definitely should be in black, but for this one I just had to hold out. I knew sooner or later they were going to come out with some more colors. It seems like it's a trend in die casting. It seems like whenever there's a brand new casting, a lot of companies put out the plain colors that will be harder to sell in the future, like white, red, yellow, black. Your basic colors, basically, and then later on, to keep the demand up for their castings, they introduce the crazier color schemes, or the color schemes with more printing on them. That's just a trend I've noticed myself, but maybe I'm totally wrong, as usual. Okay, let's see, I got this at one of my local stores. I did pre-order it a ways back, though. Totally unlicensed, like I think almost all Rolls Royce models in 164, at least the premium style. I don't think any of them are licensed, but again, correct me if I'm wrong. Is there tape holding this together? No. So it's not a good idea to do this, but in this case, it's a pretty tight cover. It's got these little friction tabs there holding it in place. Okay. Well, I don't see any extremely fragile things hanging out the side of this thing. I guess I'm afraid if I drop it, that Spirit of Ecstasy is gonna break off. But I'm kind of curious to see what the bottom of this one looks like, because I might also open it. So the Rolls Royce Phantom VI, according to Wikipedia, 374 of these were made, and over a long period of time, between 1968 through 1990. And those last 10 years only accounted for 10% of the production, so obviously demand was a lot lower between 1980 and 90 because much more modern cars existed by then. And by much more modern, this thing came with drum brakes on all four wheels. Back in 1968, that was pretty normal, I guess. Wikipedia doesn't tell me if they ever upgraded to disc brakes, but if it was 1980 and you have four drum brakes, I wouldn't want to drive this car. It'd be a death trap. The coachwork is done by Mulliner Park Ward, and then this is the last Rolls Royce with a separate chassis. So it's a body on chassis, kind of like how a lot of pickup trucks are made. So it could have been a rough ride. I'm not sure. No, I'm sure it wasn't a rough ride being a Rolls Royce. I've never sat in one, so I don't know. And it took on average, I guess, 18 months or so to make one of these cars, being all handmade. Like all these body panels are, hand beaten, or using those hydraulic beating rams to bend metal into these, forms. That's a cool little picture of the doors, still a suicide. Alright. Let us take a look now. On here, try to get the best angle. So I do like this paint choice that I held out for. It's a silver top with a metallic sky blue, so both are metallic. Hopefully that'll help with the long-term paint durability. Hopefully it'll keep it paint rash at bay. Look at the panel lines, they seem okay. They're not overly wide. And And then look at the wheels. They're just kind of like smooth hubcaps. But there seems to be something printed in the middle. Get in on that. I don't know if that... Yeah, I think it is an RR. Look at that. It's not centered. What about the back one? Yeah, that's not centered either, but I can clearly see the overlapping R's, so that's good. And then if you look at the white wall ring there, on this side of the car, they're quite concentric with the wheel. That's a really hard thing to do. Everyone rags on, green light. Green light's always attempting to do this, and they never get it right. It's like a miracle if they get their white walls correct. Let's see here. Looks like we have a orange reflector, and there's some sort of molded detail there. I feel like it's raised a little bit. I also like that this body line here is casted in, starting at the front bottom, and then swoops all the way here, kinks up past the door, and swoops all the way back here, and swoops around there. So that's nicely done, mold-wise. Seems to be the fuel filler door on this side of the car as well. And then you'll see this rear fender bulge is coming out. So it's like a Coke bottle styling. Tapers in right here, and then it bulges out again. Although I gotta say, in those photographs, it looks like it bulges out a lot more in the real car. So this one's quite shallow. Alright. The rear tire is sunken underneath the fender, and that does seem to match the photographs pretty well. The front tire is somewhat under the fender as well, so I think that's pretty cool. Alright. Let's get to these side windows now. It's hard though, it's really shiny. So there are these separate chromed mirrors. They're both kind of up. I thought they were like warped. I think they are warped. I mean, the angle of that mirror doesn't make any sense. I would think they'd be more forward in real life, but I'm not going to bend them because they're rigid. They're going to just snap off if I try to bend them into shape. Leave them alone. Now these door handles, what's happening here? These are separate chrome pieces as well. Yeah, they're sticking out quite a bit, and I think they're separate plastic pieces, so that's nice. The the window molding has this nice mirror finish. It looks like it's chrome paint maybe, or at least silver paint, and it is three-dimensional. Like the molding is sticking up past the window, so it's got depth to it. So nice windows. Okay, that silver paint is good. A little contaminant there. Okay, let me back out. Alright, so we have a Phantom VI on the license plate, which is nice. I'd rather have that than just a blank plate. The chrome bumper and these little vertical bumperettes. I'm not even sure if that's the real name of these things. I call them bumperettes. Seems to be obviously a separate piece. There's a brake there. Okay. Then this Parthenon grill is a separate chrome piece. It must be. And it looks like there's a black paint wash in there. And with the side markers, you can see this white on the bottom, orange on the top. These clear headlights and clear fog lights are nicely done. Let me go in on that headlight and see if there's any light bulb activity back there. Yeah, it looks like there's tiny light bulbs back there. I'm not sure about this one. Maybe it is there. Yeah, I guess it is. There might even be some vertical lines. At least on this one, maybe. And I didn't even see before, but there's a light. No, this is a grill. I'm looking at the front photo. There's just no black paint. I thought it was a light. But there's two horizontal streaks in the real photo, and there's a cross member here. It's just, if they had black paint in those two recesses, it would look really nice. Alright, well still, it's a nice front end. I'm pretty sure there's an RR here as well, but it's so chrome I can't see it on my phone screen, but I'm pretty sure it's there. It's so small I can't see it with my naked eye either. So this Spirit of Ecstasy is nice. Look at that thing. It's not just a blob. You can kind of see the wings back there separating out. So very nice, but obviously don't drop this. Alright, so now we have two antennae stocks. This is raised, this little ridge on the silver painted hood. These wiper blades are separate photo etched chrome pieces. There's a ribbing texture here for the ventilation ducts. There's chrome going around the front windshield as well. You can get a peek of the black dashboard and steering wheel, and then a tan interior. Let's get to this rear end here. So taillights are good as well. We have some orange and red, or it's more like yellow and red. Whereas the front, it was more like orange and white. And it's interesting that this looks more orange, but this looks more yellow. Alright. Nice to see something again in the license plate. And then I think this is like a separate chrome piece of plastic. And this one looks dull here though. I don't know what's going on with the chrome around the license plate. It looks like it's a different color. Or it looks like it might be metal. Yeah, what I'm touching now, possibly it's metal. It might be a tab or something coming through the body, because I can kind of see like a gap there. But this looks like a chrome piece of plastic. And same with the rear bumper. And then you can see the chrome exhaust tip is really nice. There's some depth in there. I think there might even be paint in the middle of that thing. Going to the bottom, we do have some treads. And we can see that it's screwed together in two spots. And pretty decent detail. You got the leaf springs there. Alright, so I'm going to take it apart just because we can. I can't find that. There we go. So there's a rear view mirror hanging up there. It's got some silver paint on there. The windows are... What's going on here? This is... I think I'm touching metal right here. So there's no actual clear plastic on the roof of this, which is... That might be a first. Almost everything is mounted from the outside and bottom. Like, the rear glass is only mounted from these two pins on the trunk, and then it just stops there, right? Now the front one, yeah, it is hanging from the roof, but then it stops here. And I have a feeling the side windows are actually put in from the outside, because this is metal I'm touching, and then it's plastic. So that's interesting. Okay. You can see the pins for the grill. And that license plate surround. No, so I think that license plate surround was plastic. It just, the chroming of it wasn't very good. Alright, so interesting there. And pretty plain base. Well, that's a pretty nice interior. We got some black here for these speakers. You have a very elevated rear seat though. Like, look at the seat cushion here, and then what is going on with these two little seats? I don't understand why those are there. Bodyguards have really lame seats or something? But like, the front seats and the rear seats match. They make sense, right? The height of the cushion, the width of the seats. But if anyone knows, please leave a comment as to why are these two minuscule seats there with absolutely no leg height? It's as if like these are meant for like 3-year-old children to sit in, or do her dogs, those corgis, get their own seats or something. Granted, this probably isn't meant to be the Queen's Rolls Royce, but very strange, very strange. Okay, you'll notice the door here. There's brown and silver. The center thing here is brown, silver, silver, silver. And that dashboard has a whole mess load of gauges and ventilation on them. So that's very nicely done. I almost feel like those are tampo printed. I don't see much of the clear wrinkliness of a decal, so that's really, really nice. And then, you know, the black steering wheel is okay. So yeah, everything except for these two weird seats makes sense. Like, with the seats you don't have any leg room, and wouldn't that defeat the purpose of having a Rolls Royce, right? Not having leg room. I almost feel like this is probably a limousine, but what the... Okay, well, it's very often I find some weird stuff going on in the collecting diecast cars or toy cars, and this is another case of that happening. Let's see if this is easy to put back together. So just put that there. And it is easy to put back together. No weird tension problems with the interior. It just went the way it did. Alright, well, you don't want to see me screw this thing together, so I'll pause and cut back. So I put it back on the stand, and I want to just make note that, you know, the spacer here is so you don't crush the tires, or that's why I believe it's so high. And so the front wheels are just totally floating now to prevent that tire crush. But naturally the ride height is not as low as before. I'm guessing the ride height was like that, but now it's just kind of more high. But oddly, the back one is crushing. Well, it's not crushing it, but it is touching down, so there's no movement here on the rear. I suppose you could put a small washer in there and make it all level, but yeah, it's kind of like it's a gasser in a way. The front end's a little bit higher than the rear end. Maybe you could actually spin that spacer around. Maybe I put it on backwards. That's a possibility, but I'm not going to bother fixing it now. Okay. So I'm noticing here in the metal plate that this is by DCM, and then this is also a limited edition apparently, 153 of around 500, if that matters to you. What do you guys think about limited editions? I think it's a waste. I think it's basically a company trying to sell an old casting by saying it's limited edition. Artificial hype, another thing. I guess I just don't like limited editions because the price is higher, and very often you're not getting anything other than this being able to say it's limited edition. Well, anyways, obviously a lot of people love limited edition things. Okay, well, I just put up 3 models here, none of which seem to be limited edition. I don't see any sort of numbering scheme. But this is a SC Art Phantom VIII limousine. Pretty good model, except for the gold stripe on the bottom. It just doesn't reach the whole front end, so it's kind of strange. This green one here is a Phantom VII, and there's no brand on that one. Just totally random. This Phantom VIII is a Time Micro, and it's Mansory. Mansory's a tuner, and I think actually both of the Phantom VIIIs are Mansory's. That's why they have such giant wheels on them, and the side cuts in the fenders. Unfortunately, this Time Micro has a bunch of weird contaminants or scratching on the hood, which is a shame. But I do like the matte purple finish otherwise. So, I do believe the reason this and the Lambo resin model I have are the reasons why I started collecting 1/64 scale vehicles. The first was I just never knew they made a Phantom VII in 1/64, and I just saw it at a local store and decided to get it. And then soon after, or even before, I saw the Lambo in like a Japanese Mitsubishi fighter scheme, and so I thought that was cool. And then that all just spiraled into this channel that is now over 1,200 videos. So beware of buying things. They might end up being vacuums of cash. Oh boy, is there a stain there? Oh, thankfully no. I thought that's just some weird dust or oil from my finger. Alright, let's get this guy spinning on its own. So I think this is a good model DCM that you put out here. I don't see any major defects going on. In fact, with so many parts and details, there was a lot of opportunities for this model to go bad. but everything's pretty good. The only minor nitpick would be your side mirrors. They don't look really like they're in the right position. They're just all kind of warped and misaligned. But considering a lot of brands don't even include side mirrors, I'm happy to have warped side mirrors than no side mirrors. So, although I guess actually if you look at this photo here, if you back up, this has no mirrors at all. Or maybe they're right there. They're just so small. And actually that brings up a point. These three have fender mirrors. The one with the doors open does seem to have mirrors where this model is. Again, if this car was made between 1968 to 1990, I'm actually surprised there weren't more changes. Okay, well, thanks for watching, guys, and if anyone's a true fan of Queen Elizabeth, I apologize for butchering her accent. I am not British. But I try to bring some sort of humor into my videos because very often I'm very let down by collecting 1/64 scale models. But today it's a good model and it's a good subject. If you want to see the black version, well, check out my subscriptions in there. Twice Diecast has his review on this a few months back. Okay, thanks for watching today, and I'll see you in the next review. Bye. Ta-ta!